That's good.
Well, lovely evening to you, Dennis.
And hello.
Welcome back to the Hour of Happy.
Here we are, moving toward the magic number for you. And our hope for goal of 52 listeners is 52 episodes.
Well, I don't think we're going to make it all the way to a full deck of cards, but we'll see how many we get. It's this is episode 32.
Oh, my.
So that's
it's a tall order.
That's a multiple of things.
It's a tall order.
When we last left off, you were on your way to go see a movie about a sad character.
Oh, my God, the Joker. Let me tell you, no matter what you think, you are not prepared to see this movie.
That's about what I've heard.
You cannot be prepared to witness what you're going to see because it is the craziest, gripping performance I've ever seen in my life, and it is with me to this moment.
Wow, that's impressive. I've heard a couple podcasts review it, and it turns out an awful lot of people were reviewing it without having seen it when it first came out because it was so controversial. The biggest, and I've not seen it, but the biggest thing that I recall hearing is that it really bothered the liberals because it made them feel empathy for a sort of not disenfranchised, but a disillusioned working class white guy in a way that they weren't previously prepared for.
Really? And have they never read the comics?
Well, I don't know about. I don't know. I really have no comic background at all on anything about the Batman DC universe.
As a Ute,
mm-hmm.
I collected them. I went to a place called the Constellation, and I said to my buddy Jim, I said, "What Constellation? What's that?" He says, "It's where they have all the comic books."
Nice.
And it was just a warehouse type deal. But I had early Superman, not number 1. Number 2, maybe number 4,
mm-hmm.
and I had a collection, but it ended in a sad disregard, which I don't even want to mention.
Okay,
it's too nerve, but they're all gone. Let me just put it at that. The entire collection disappeared overnight.
So you were on the DC side of the coin.
I was not restricted. I shopped all brands.
Okay.
And followed. Spider-Man was my particular favorite. I still got some classics that have never come out of the cover because I collected just a few.
Interesting.
Over the years, yeah. So anyway,
the other interesting Joker observation that I've heard is, as you may recall, back during the Tea Party movement, where when Obama had been president for 4 years or 2 years maybe, and the Republicans used a bunch of posters at their rallies of Obama with his face painted like the Joker.
Oh my God!
And this was like this man is evil. He's trying to disrupt stuff. And now the super interesting turns out twist is that now the same people are going to rallies with posters of Trump with makeup, with Joker makeup, but supporting Trump, where they were against Obama, but they've taken this Joker concept and twisted it and turned it into a way of
communication.
I mean, it's always been
declaration.
I guess he's always stood for anti-establishment in that way or something. But
I'm afraid it would encourage him.
It would encourage Trump or the Joker.
The Donald.
Yes.
The Donald.
Right, exactly. So his supporters like to liken him to the Joker, whereas previously they likened Obama to him as the instrument of change. But I mean, that sort of makes sense because you want, I don't know. Well, no, it doesn't make sense. Never mind. I take that back. But that's pretty much all the Joker commentary I've heard. And also that it's just an amazing performance. And
after you've seen it, we'll talk some more because there's very little I can say that's not a spoiler of some sort, except to say this, that I said out loud in a movie, and I never speak out loud in movies, but I said at least on 4 or 5 occasions something. Either I said, "What the fuck?"
Uh-huh.
Or I said, I can't believe what I'm seeing. And
those are the best movies.
And my wife, Nick, it was like, I know. I know. And when it was over, sister-in-law was there. And I said, well, there wasn't one lighthearted moment in this one. And she looked at me.
I warned you, there were no jokes.
And she said, no kidding. But here's the thing about this stuff. There wasn't one iota of any type of animation. And so as the certain esteemed directors, Scorsese might want to diminish the animated cartoonish characterizations, I can understand that because I don't like to go see them when they're animated like that. I don't. Now they're animating real live people to fly and shit, and it's like, whatever.
Right.
But this, on the other hand, was like, holy cow. So there is a soundbite from Scorsese about the Joker, which I haven't read it, but I understand that it's positive. Mm-hmm. And so this is after this flap that he caused by saying it's not cinema. And in fact, I don't know exactly what he intended. I didn't have to look any deeper because when I go and I see like these latest like Aquaman kind of stuff, I just did not like it at all.
It's so plastic and fake.
And it was just way too much animation, and the acting it just wasn't very good. But even with good acting, Robert Downey Jr. and the likes of good Lord,
they've got Samuel L. Jackson and
Scarlett Johansson. Lord, you name it. I mean, it's a star-studded. But they've allowed themselves to get animated, and it's like it's less cinema.
It's all in the computer. They do all their shoots on the soundstage with green screens, and then the rest is added. There was a great video. I will try and find it for the show notes. I cannot guarantee this, but there's this great video of what the Marvel people look like when they're recording their thing, where they do this, where they have to where they're doing this thing where they're jumping and they're falling down 5 stories and they have to land like it really hurts and stuff. And there's this video of what the actual shoot looks like where, they're jumping off of a crate and landing down like oomph. And it's just it's funny. I'll try and find
landing
it.
on like a mattress.
Yeah. But I sort of get that. However, I guarantee you there was some computer graphics stuff in this movie in a way that was unnoticeable. It wasn't
in the Joker.
I bet you, I've not seen it. I bet you that there was some stuff like
I'll take that bet.
Take that bet. If there was anything with a large crowd, that sort of thing.
A backdrop.
Yeah, that sort of thing is all
the skyscape.
The skyscape, because
sure.
all of that stuff is faux now. But
granted.
But yes, there's no skyscraper falling over or something.
Animation of characters.
Right. No. Although
more specific. I need to be more specific with you.
Pacific or Atlantic?
Specific over on the western coast.
Pacific. Can you be more Pacific? Like California.
I'm going to go at.
You're going to go at.
Atlantic. So, have you been watching the Watchmen series?
I have.
Episode.
I have. It has been highly recommended to me, and I have a podcast that I consume that is threatening in a couple weeks to do an episode where they talk a lot about it. So it is. I will be watching it.
Well, so I will tell you that it is extraordinary.
I heard that the first episode is just kind of mind blowing.
Well, I've seen all the episodes.
Yeah.
They're all mind blowing. I've seen 3. The 4th one is out. They're all mind blowing. It is so unexpected. Some of it is so unnerving. Some of it is so totally inexplicable or unexplained, I should say. Maybe.
I've heard that it's very apt for our time and that it particularly can get under the skin of liberal folk like us. But I don't know.
No.
No? Okay.
Well, I mean, I don't know.
I'm speaking with no knowledge.
Well,
I would love to come back later with more.
It won't be the first time.
Wow.
What else don't you know about that we should talk about? What else of which you know nothing at all would be interesting to what now is from 52 to 32 viewers, dropping.
I don't know.
As we speak. And I'm watching the clicks go down the longer you take to become clever.
Oh, man. We're losing clicks. That sucks. Well, I don't know a lot about most things, is what I would say.
Well, then the mic is wide open. So I saw something that was a bit unnerving, and it was a Google of real people who look like cartoon characters.
Okay.
And some of the people, I would tell you that Beavis and Butthead.
No.
I had to stop looking.
No.
Because I didn't want to see this. I did not want to see this person that looked like Beavis, or was it Butthead? I think it was Beavis. I didn't want to see it, and yet I saw it. Now I'm stuck with the image.
The internet is really.
But the good news is, if there is good news, it's replacing the image of the bat, which is receding.
The bat
in my mind, the big huge bat crawling into the crevice of my sliding door, or CK? Is it CK?
Yeah. Well. Your animus against the bats, is that why you're wearing the Joker makeup? Because you're against the Batman? Because I'm getting some mixed messages here.
I didn't think you noticed.
Yeah.
You don't often comment on it.
It's pretty creepy. Yeah. Well, I hope that you can best the Batman.
Let me tell you something, and don't take this the wrong way. That's not makeup. Those eyes are bloodshot. That's blood.
Okay. Was that the right way to take it?
It's from me stretching my cheeks so that I could smile this big until I bled.
It is disturbing, the level of your smile. It's
the level of your smile is such a joy. Yes. So, have you ever wanted to be a lounge singer? Because I have.
A lounge singer.
The best lounge singer movie of all time is Jim Carrey channeling Andy Kaufman, and in
Man on the Moon.
Man on the Moon, and in the film, as in real life, Andy Kaufman had created a character that's a lounge singer, and a good part of the movie is dedicated to this alter ego that he created. And he's the most insulting, just moronic lounge singer ever in the world, and so offensive. And it is the best characterization of a lounge singer. And what he sings is, "Oh, Lottie, whoa, whoa, cansare, whoa, 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 whoa."
Yes.
Sit up.
I know the song.
But when he does it, he is offensive.
Mm-hmm.
Have you not seen it?
I have seen that movie. I do not recall that particular scene.
Well, once again, we're left with a very large gap in what others might call a memory and a brain, but which for you apparently is a wide open skull.
The gap between my ears
noggin, with nothing in it.
It's just
whatsoever.
The echo in there. It takes like 4 minutes for the echo to get all the way across. Yeah.
Common sense bouncing around in your skull like some crazy pinball machine of realization, which cannot come to you because you simply do not have the capacity nor the competency, as most people on this planet do, to understand the simplest of things.
Pinball machine of common sense. I like that.
You would, because you don't know what it means. You're just mimicking.
Every time I try and think, the machine says tilt, and
right. I can imagine.
And I lose the ball.
I can imagine in your little pea brain that what you see when there's too much data coming your way is in your brain. You see tilt. It's probably misspelled.
Right. T-L-I-T.
It probably says tilt. And you don't know what to do. You don't know if you should talk to someone or what you should do. I don't know.
Pretty much, yes. I tilt at windmills, as they say.
Don Quixote. I think we've spoken about you before, but for you, Don Quixote.
A new cerveza.
Fat Tire Extravaganza.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Lonnie! Whoa, whoa.
That is an Italian song.
Causation. Whoa, 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 whoa.
I have some shit to talk to you about.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I did some thinking.
Stories of your living arrangements in Brooklyn or something different?
Well, I've been watching some, as YouTube well knows, a common vice of mine who spends 9 minutes looking at a YouTube video is this TV show called Fool Us with Penn and Teller. Have you seen this show?
What is it?
Fool Us. Do you know who Penn and Teller is?
Yes, no Penn and Teller. F-O-O-L, new word, capital U, us.
Yes.
Fool Us.
Fool Us. Yes.
Fool
Anyway,
us.
The premise, if as you're clearly not aware, is it's because they are expert magicians or illusionists, and they have this show in Vegas where these different people come and perform magic tricks in front of them and see if they, the experts, who have been doing magic for 40 years, can figure out exactly what happened. And if they have figured it out, then they do this clever thing where they talk to the person and they say, "Oh, I really like how you teed that up there, and you had a lot of drive to your thing," and they're doing all this coded language of talking about particular hand maneuvers or whatever to let the person know that they figured out what was done without actually revealing the trick.
Oh.
And it's very, very clever.
They never reveal it?
No, they don't. They
let you know one way or the other.
Penn, obviously, because Teller doesn't talk in public. Penn is very good at doing this thing where he says, as I just said, he talks to the person and drops in and emphasizes a couple of words along the way, like, "You did a really key performance here, and I was watching it with white knuckles." Just little things like that, where he drops in these identifying words where any magician who knows all the terms about the craft is going to be like, yeah, he's telling me that he knows what I did. But sometimes there are times when they say, we have no freaking clue how you did that, and they give them an award, and eventually I think because I only watch on YouTube, I don't see this, but eventually the people that win the Fool Us trophy get to come back and perform in Las Vegas alongside Penn and Teller or something. But it's
so. Does Teller whisper to Penn
after they watch the trick, they go back and they talk off mic.
Off mic insight or
off mic insight? No, off mic insight. Oh. And where they have a little notepad where they write stuff to each other, and it's as Penn often says, a lot of times stuff fools him but doesn't fool Teller, because Teller is just that much of a more clever magician than he is. But it's a fun little thing that YouTube has learned that I like to see those videos. Anyway,
what did you just send me? What did you just send me that I didn't have time to see? Did you say it was 9 minutes?
I sent you something. Yes, it was. I'm looking. It was the little film that we discussed on last episode. That a computer wrote, and it's good to. I watched it again today. I'd seen it a couple years ago, but it's very much of this sort of what the fuck am I seeing? And I'm way too sober to be finding this funny right now. It's that sort of creation. But anyway.
So we got snow. So we were warned that we might get 1 to 3 inches. We got 4. Then we were told that we'd get another 1 or 2 inches, and we got 3. And so here's the good news. I raked the leaves. Raked them and blew them. I created 3 garden beds out of those leaves, so at least to get the worms to begin to work. I covered those with black plastic before the snow, and I put up an amazing temporary garage that is 20 foot by 12 foot by 9 foot, and have it secured. And as we speak, the car is parked in
a temporary garage,
and it's a tent garage. And here's the thing that you'll be amazed at. I know, I just can't wait to hear your reaction.
Me neither.
Same color as my house.
No.
I knew you'd be surprised.
It's also fuchsia? That's amazing.
Fuchsia.
You
don't even know what fuchsia is.
Did you paint it?
It's just a word that popped into your head. You've got you probably only know 5 colors total.
Hey, fuchsia pal.
Fuchsia me. Well, fuchsia you and your entire family. No, don't say that. Your dad's our only true listener.
Fuchsia's a lovely color. Fuchsia's a lovely color.
Fuchsia. So we might as well let everyone know that the reason that we're having this little conversation about fuchsia is that in fact is your middle name, Eric Fuschia.
Yes.
And as such, you have meticulously painted all 25 of your toe and fingernails fuchsia. And as we speak, I'm struck by that with glitter, which you would, of course, anyone who's listened to any more than one episode would know, of course, why you would use glitter. So there you have it. It's too bad nobody can see you.
Fuchsia and fabulous is my motto.
What is it?
Fuchsia and fabulous. With the glitter. But hold on.
Fuchsia and fabulous is your motto?
It doesn't rhyme though. So, I need to workshop it some more.
It doesn't. Eric,
fuchsia.
There's nothing clever about it. Nothing. Is that it?
I mean, it's F and F. I don't know.
F and F. F and F. So here's the story. I'm at an intersection. It's a left turn. There's a red light. There's a left turn signal. There's a semi-diesel tractor trailer in front of me. It turns green. The motherfucker is on his cell phone. Doesn't see it. We lose the opportunity of a minute or two to go. We sit there. I pull to the left. I blow on the horn. I go back behind him. It turns green again. Minutes later, I blow on the horn. He takes off, and as he turns the corner, he flips me the bird with his head hanging out the window, screaming at me, "Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. I ask you."
Ask me.
Was this warranted? Was this warranted? You missed the green light, mofo. You missed the left turn. I'm reminding you not to do it again. Stay off your cell phone, bruh.
I think you were very much justified.
There we go. I hope he's listening.
Yes.
Dick.
What's his name? Dennis?
You know what I did?
What?
I was the fucking epitome of control. I carefully rolled down my truck window, gave him the bird, and screamed as loud as I could, "Fuck you. Fuck you." And that's what we were doing as we turned the corner, both screaming "fuck you" to each other.
What a beautiful traffic ballet. Just
Ba-da-da-da-da.
Fuck you. Fuck you.
Ba-da-da-da-da. Fuck you. Fuck you.
This is beautiful. See?
Da-da-da. Fuck you. Fuck you. Ba-da-da. And now, as the drivers are separating, fuck you. Fuck you.
How beautiful.
Da-da-da. Fuck you. Fuck you.
Ballet of the Truckers.
Da-da. The trucker fuckers.
Okay, and scene.
And then I pulled into the parking lot, screech on the brakes, and scream out the door one last time. Ah, fuck you.
Very good. And the audience just erupted in applause. Like,
It's spontaneous.
our listeners have all stood up from their sofas and are applauding right now. Or their
Both
bus
of them.
or their bus seats. Or they've pulled over their car that are
Toilet where he listens to
Oh
us.
yeah, if you're on the toilet, careful when you stand
10
up.
minutes a day, 6 days in between episodes.
7 days a week.
There's only 8 days a week.
8 days a week. Okay.
The song was about.
That's right. Very good. Yeah. Greetings, podcast listeners. I'd like to break the fourth wall for a moment and talk directly to you. Dennis and I have a lot of fun making this show, but podcasting takes equipment, time, and energy. If we're going to sustain this show for the long term, we need some help from you. Think about it like this. We're giving you roughly 4 hours of content every month. How much is 4 hours of entertainment worth to you? Think about other things that you pay for to be entertained for 4 hours, like 2 movies, or a round of golf, or a weekly yoga class, or maybe a concert. That's the level of support we'd like from you. If you find our discussions entertaining, we'd really appreciate any support you can afford to give. Please, if you can't afford to give money, don't. But if you can, to donate, go to happyhour.fm and click on the red Become a Patron button at the top, and then choose a tier that you'd like to support us at. Thank you very, very much. Now, back to the nonsense. So I've watched a couple of... There's this genre of documentary where they look back at someone who became successful, and they go and they talk to all the people that were on their path along their way. For example, there was one about Jerry Seinfeld, and I saw another one about Stephen Colbert and Steve Carell.
Really?
How they were together.
Dana Carvey must have played a role in
Exactly. This was a lot of the footage was from. He's got a new documentary, which greatly titled "Too Funny to Fail," that I haven't seen. It's apparently available on Hulu, but and I was watching these, and it's fun for a little while, and then I started to get this. I got a little bit bothered because everyone is like, "Oh yeah, when I first saw a successful person, I knew they were going to be great," and they do all this retrofitting back on how they tell the stories now that they know that whoever it was turned out to be amazing, and no one ever looks back and says, "Yeah, I saw Stephen Colbert and he was shit, and we didn't hire him."
Right.
They don't interview those people. They don't.
So
They don't include that.
I saw the bit of Colbert auditioning.
Yeah.
For the Dana Carvey with his 1.5-year-old child,
month
where he
old
was
baby.
crying about I don't know what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
And it wasn't all that funny, frankly.
It was overacting in a way that, if you're looking for sketch comedy, people might be a good thing. But yes.
Well, no doubt, but it I don't know. It just I don't know.
Yeah. So anyway, they look back, and it's sort of like this survivor bias, where survivor bias is you look back on the things that worked, and it seems clear that they were always going to work, and it's like no one is doing a documentary about the other 7 people that Dana Carvey hired that year, because we don't know who they are. And it's easy for Dana Carvey to go back and say, yeah, of all the people that I saw, I knew Stephen was the one. And it's a bit like this whole genre of books that are like 10 habits of the most successful CEOs or whatever.
Yeah, right.
And if you go and you try and read, what kind of tea all the successful CEOs have for breakfast, you're messing up the correlation and the causation there. It's like that's not why they're successful. They're if for some reason they match up, it's not because of a causation that made them successful. It's probably the other way around, or some other.
Don't mix up correlation with causation. Don't mix up the two.
So my one of my favorite webcomics, which I will link in the show notes, is from a comic called XKCD. I don't know if you've heard of this. It's sort of nerd-oriented. But the very favorite one that I can quote from memory. I used to think that correlation and causation were sort of the same thing, and I took this course about statistics, and then now I understand the difference. And the other person says, oh, well, it sounds like the course helped. And the original person responds, well, maybe.
Of course. Right. I got it well. So I erected, anyway, the garage, the tent.
You erected?
I also erected, right, which, of course, you would light on like a moth to a bear bulb.
Bear bulb. Yes,
bear bulb. Anyway, so with the snow, I've got to go out there with a rake, a soft garden leaf rake, of course, turning it inverted upside down and pumping the top of the tents to get the snow off. Because if the snow gets too heavy, not that it will collapse it, but that it will stretch the canvas so that even a greater indention would occur, because you can't make the tarp perfectly tight. It's impossible because it's a waterproof. It's a tarp like it's much more than a tarp, though. I mean, tarp denigrates it, and I don't appreciate it. Okay, so this isn't a tarp. This is a temporary tent structure. It's not bungee cords in long bamboo sticks holding it up. All right.
Okay.
This is over 250 parts, different parts to put it all together.
And it's not permanent.
Tubes and pipes and stakes and nuts and bolts.
Wow.
102 smaller bolts, 58 larger bolts, and a dozen taller bolts. And the difference between each bolt was 2 screws of the bolt.
Wow.
Therefore, categorization and preparation was at a premium throughout the project. I see you yawn. I can
that 2 screws of the bolt that's a tight categorization dichotomy.
There's a song in there.
2 screws of the bolt.
2 screws to the bolt. 2.
And I got my tent.
2 screws to the bolt.
Bolt doesn't rhyme with a whole bunch of stuff, though.
Dolt. So you're in it. Colt, which is the horse you rode in on.
Yeah. Or my pistol.
Folt, which is what you do with your towels before you put them away in your little closet. Molt, this is what's happened to your genitals as we speak.
Folt. All my towels are folt. I got 2 screws over the bolt.
Jolt, which is what you look like when I say these things, and you don't know how to respond. You don't know if you can respond. You don't know if you ever will respond. And I know that the answer is no, you won't. You can't. I'm sorry. This is... I know that...
Yeah. So this is a good avenue of discussion.
I know. It's fascinating.
So, to steer briefly towards politics.
Oh.
I'm
game.
Have you seen where Elizabeth Warren has come out with how much her tax for the rich would have affected the richest people.
I meant to, though.
It's really good. There's this one tweet that I'm going to read that does a really good summary job. It's by a guy called Brad Lander. He says, okay, let me get this straight. If Elizabeth Warren's wealth tax had been placed from 1982, Bezos would still have $49 billion, Gates $14 billion, and Bloomberg $12 billion. And we'd all have childcare and healthcare, student debt relief, and 4 times the federal money for schools. Can we vote yet? So, and there's this great New York Times article with it that lays all this out, and it's just like, in my opinion, there's no need for billionaires at all.
So Bezos, he loses a sure half of his wealth.
More than that.
The point is, of course, that when you have that much money, you never have to spend any of it, because all you ever spend is your interest.
Yes.
And you can't buy enough things. You cannot possibly buy enough
it's not
things
possible. Yeah.
in the time God has given you, even if you hire a full-time buying staff. Therefore, the country that made it possible for you to prosper wants to acquire part of your wealth to help those that are less fortunate, who without them, we actually wouldn't have a country. Motherfucker.
Yes, exactly. And it's just
49 billion, you poor guy.
Yeah. And that's down from his...
Not 116. Oh.
Yeah. So, right, exactly.
Sorry, Jeff.
But if you take a moment to think about it at all, I think a reasonable limit is maybe like 50 million, which is way lower than.
No,
a billion.
I wouldn't say that.
But for 50 million, you could have several mansions, a couple jets.
The point that you made is plenty. Let Jeff Bezos have 49 billion. Let him have it, and let us get the rest of that stuff.
But why does he need more than 1 billion?
It doesn't matter. Let's not try to get the whole enchilada. Let's go ahead and negotiate. Let him have his 49 billion. It's all right. Because what do we get? Tell me again. What do we get if we let him keep only 49 billion? What do we get?
Healthcare and childcare and student debt relief.
How about aging?
I'm not really into it.
What?
I'm not a big fan of aging. I would prefer not to.
Well,
no, but
I wish I could say the same.
So, but 49 billion sounds excessive.
Listen, if to take care of old people who don't have to lose all of their assets in order to take care of themselves, if that leaves him with only 42 billion, I'm all for it. I talked with a couple the other day. This isn't unusual. They had, with their parents who had smart investments and were relatively well off as far as these things go, they spent nearly $400,000 of their assets to care for them when they were old. $400,000, all into that industry. Okay, pharmaceutical, hospitalization, nursing care, etc.
Right.
Their inheritance, for which they would be half millionaires, gone.
Right.
So if Jeff Bezos has to live with 42 instead of 49 billion, I don't know what it would cost. I've got no idea.
Where you going, bro?
Got to go, bro. Got to go, bro. Got to go.
Well, then get gone.
So, here's the story for you. Today I'm driving in the snow, and I'm going up a street. And as I'm going up a street that isn't often used to get to where I'm going, a car is approaching me, and I notice that it is in the wrong lane, and it is going kind of fast. And I know that I have to turn right. I am already turning right to go into the lane that this car occupies. And as I see what's about to happen, I speed up, turn left, pull away just in time for the car that's approaching in the wrong lane to hit me in my right bumper and spin my car into the side of the road. So as I get out of the car and say, fuck, and see this man in his car screaming, fuck, 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 I don't have any money, I don't have any money. He's angry. He's screaming.
Oh, shit.
And little did I know at first that he knew it was his fault, because it was. Mm-hmm. And he was in anguish,
Because this was going to ruin him.
Yes. And his car, the front of his car, the light was
dark,
falling and needed some duct tape. Fuck. At least there was a dent. My car, which is actually my wife's car, which she doesn't know about this yet, has a broken bumper. A broken bumper, but just a crack.
Right.
And I looked at him, and he was just about in tears, in tears. And somebody else from a porch, you want me to call the police? And we're both like, no, man, we're good here. We're good here. And I looked at him, and I said, what do you want to do? He said, I don't have any money, man. This will ruin me. I said, then let's just go. He said, really? You'll do that for me? I said, yeah, let's just go. He said, all right. We bumped fists on our way.
Beautiful, beautiful moment.
What am I going to do?
No, I know what our president would do. He would destroy that guy, but you got to have some empathy and some care in the world.
You got to have heart. That's what you got to have. Some of it, you got to have heart. I'm out of here, bro.
All right, well, here's a fist bump to you. Don't sue me.
Boom. I've tried my best.
If you've enjoyed what you just heard, you can support us by telling a friend or sharing us on social media. Monthly donations to help us pay for hosting and editing can be provided at patreon.com/happyhour. That's all one word, happy hour. All our episodes, including show notes for each episode, are available on our website, happyhour.fm. You can tweet at us at happyhour.fm, that's with a dot spelled out, happyhour.dotfm, or we can receive email at the same name, happyhourdotfm@gmail.com. It would also be great if you could give us a positive rating on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. That really helps other people find us. See you next week.